Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, apologies about that, and also apologies if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well. If there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it can't be helped, and hopefully it's not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2024 related video here on my channel, and a video that is very similar to something that I filmed only a few weeks ago. Back then, I told you my first early rough predictions for the semi-finals results of the upcoming edition of the ESC, which will take place next month for a third time in the city of Malmö, Sweden. Today I am telling you my updated rough predictions for the semi-finals results. I have taken off all of the slips of paper that were on my corkboard and I have them now on my table. Semi-final 1 on peach coloured bits of paper, semi-final 2 on green pieces of paper. As always, you're very welcome to let me know your thoughts on anything I discussed today by leaving a comment down below, and as always there are links in the description to my other social media pages. Check them out if you so wish. These are pretty much my final predictions before the contest is actually upon us in a few weeks' time. I just want to give you a heads up and say that it is absolutely my intention to film a 10 great national finals songs of the season video in the next couple of days. I'm working on that behind the scenes, and I'm also thinking about videos that I will film the week of the contest. All being well, it will be a very similar to format as we've seen in previous years. So I'm just going to get straight into this. I have used Eurovision.place, which is an online sorter, to help me with putting this together. Some countries have moved up a place or two, some countries have moved down a place or two. Not much is different, but do consider this an updated prediction. So, semi-final 1, I'm going to try and rattle through this as best I can. This is actually the 4th time I'm trying to record this. So here we go, fingers crossed it now all goes smoothly. Finishing last in semi-final 1, on Tuesday the 7th of May, 15 countries are involved. They'll all vote alongside Germany, Sweden and the UK, and the artists representing those nations will be performing two in between the semi-final 1 semi-finalists. And the rest of the world vote. Who knows how crucial that will turn out to be. Anyway, finishing last, song 11, Moldova, Natalia Barbu. I know it's back to front on camera, but it does say Moldova, Natalia Barbu in the middle. She's a great singer. She's been at a few pre-parties. She's sounded pretty good. She's been there, done that, got the t-shirt when it comes to Eurovision. The song is fine, but there is no momentum behind this track whatsoever. I imagine the staging at Eurovision will be fairly similar to the staging that we had at the Moldovan national selection. We usually get pretty impressive staging from Moldova, but this year I don't think we are going to get it. I don't think Moldova are going to deliver. And in all honesty, this seems like the safest bet out of all of the semi-final 1 nations this year to not go through. I'd be surprised if anybody thinks this is going to make the cut, because who do you take out if you are putting Natalia Barbu through to the grand final? I don't know. But she is a good singer. In a 100% public vote semi-final though, that counts for absolutely nothing. Finishing in 14th place, song 8, Iceland, Hera Björk, Scared of Heights. Another good vocalist. A more than competent performer, a likeable performer. Again, been there, done that, got the t-shirt when it comes to Eurovision because she was there in 2010 in Oslo. The song is very safe. To the casual listener, they might really like this because it's playing it safe. Some people just want a fairly accessible pop song. We'll talk about Cyprus in a moment's time. I don't see this going through though. Again, not enough momentum. The staging could be quite lackluster. As a result, it's an NQ. And I'm usually right behind Iceland every year, but this time around, I'd be amazed if Hera Björk made the cut. 14th place. No real changes so far, but it's song 12, Azerbaijan, Fari, featuring Ilkin Dovlatov and Azun Leopard. There's a lot to like about this. It's quite smooth and relaxing and gentle, and very pleasant to listen to, it really is. Plus we have lyrics in the Azeri language, which is very nice. However, nobody's really talking about this song. And I know fans make up a tiny percentage of people watching the shows every May, but I think to the casual listener, the neutral viewer, are they really going to gravitate towards this one? I don't think they are, unfortunately. So it's an NQ. Moving on. Finishing in 12th place. Now, have I messed up here? 15th, 14th, 13th, 12th place. This country's moved down a few slots, and I'm not confident about this prediction. Nobody should be taking it seriously, heavens above. But I've gone with Song 15, closing semi-final 1 next month, Tally and Fighter for Luxembourg. I've said it before and I'll say it again. To me, this song falls flat. It wants to be really quite something, and it's not getting there. It is not hitting top gear, unfortunately. Tally seems like an alright vocalist. She seems like an alright performer. But I do wonder about the staging. And the fact that this is on last in semi-final 1, is it going to feel like a bit of a dud? Is it going to feel like a bit of a flop on the night? I don't know. This may go through purely because it's on last and it will be fresh in people's memories, even though the voting is open from the start of the show, I believe. But really, I don't think this is strong enough to progress. I really don't. If it goes through, fine. What a wonderful result for Luxembourg after years not taking part. But if this misses out, I will also not be the slightest bit surprised. So Luxembourg are out for me in this prediction at this moment in time. That could change moving forwards. I believe she's been at a few pre-parties. I wasn't terribly impressed by what I heard or saw. But there we are. It's been a while since I checked out those performances. Now, let's go from the top now, shall we? Winning semi-final 1. The same country as before. Song 7 on the night. Croatia. Baby Lasagna, Rim Tim Taggy Dim. I made a video all about why Croatia should perhaps challenge for the win at this year's competition. It's a great song. It's energetic. It's lively. The vocals don't really matter with a song like this. They really don't. It's not trying to be something it isn't. It's immediately attention-grabbing. The public will be invested with this. He mentions his cat. It's colourful. He's in sort of traditional garb. He's moving across the stage. He's improving all the time. His confidence is growing. And if people are aware of the underdog story as well, maybe that could generate some more support going his way too. Really, he is the man to beat in this semi-final. Had he been in semi-final 2, it could be a bit of a different story, but the fact that he's in semi-final 1 means that I think he's probably going to come out on top here, and I think a lot of other people will probably say the same. The runner-up in semi-final 1, the same as before, Song 5 on the night, Ukraine. We always expect Ukraine to qualify and do very, very well in the final. This year is no exception. It's flying under the radar just a tad, but should we be surprised if Ukraine win for a 4th time? Maybe not. Aliona and Jerry Hale with Teresa and Maria. Two great singers, vocals going well together. It's quite melancholic. Some people might not be in the mood for that. But you look at the semi-final 1 lineup, it's quite clear to me, maybe to you as well, that this song, this country, obviously going through really easily and more than likely finishing in the top 3. Finishing 3rd, Song 3, Lithuania, Sylvester Belt Luktelk. There will be a bit of diaspora love for this man, for this country, but even if there wasn't that diaspora vote, this would still go through without breaking a sweat. There is energy, this throbbing beat. He's not a bad performer. I don't love the song, but I can appreciate it for what it is. Plus, it's in the Lithuanian language, which I think is really nice too. This is going to do very, very well indeed. And in fact, I'm very tempted to move him above Ukraine. That's a possibility. We'll have to wait and see. Don't have much else to say about this. It's a good song. Maybe the performance could be a bit stronger. I don't know. I've seen the national final performance a few times. It's okay. I'm not loving it, but I don't really know how you could change it. Anyway, it's by the by. Lithuania are going through. Now, moving up a few places, finishing 4th in a 100% public vote semi-final. Now, are people going to look at Slovenia and think, oh, yeah, that's an absolute masterpiece. What a powerhouse performance that was by Raven. Or are they going to look at a middle-aged man in his shorts and think, wow, how funny that is? I think they're going to go more for the latter. Song 10 on the night, finishing in 4th place, Finland, Windows 95 man, no rules. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Vocally, not great. I find it cringeworthy and an absolutely huge downgrade on what we had last year. But, to the casual viewer, they will probably lap this up. Vocals don't matter at all here. The performance, there's a lot going on. It's quite wacky. For a lot of viewers who only tune in to the live shows and have no idea about these songs beforehand, they'll probably watch this and think, yeah, this is what Eurovision's all about. Anyway, Should this make the final, juries will crucify it. Public will probably love it. It could be a quite lopsided thing. Anyway, going through, I think, possibly quite comfortably now. Being at the pre-parties, I've not been terribly impressed. This is very much all about the performance, I would say, and really trying to convey, if there is some sort of message with this song, the message through to the audience. Anyway, going through 4th place. Finishing 5th, song 2 on the night. I don't think that's too damaging because the song is good enough to progress anyway. It's a really fine ballad, one of the finest ballads we have this year. Ramonda Teodora for Serbia. She's a great vocalist. The song builds up, it feels very powerful, emphatic, heartfelt, etc, etc. I don't know what we're going to get in terms of the staging. I think the staging is key here because Cyprus are on first, and like Iceland, that's a fairly safe, accessible pop song, and to the casual viewer, they might really appreciate that because they like their comfort zone, maybe. And then you've got Lithuania on afterwards, which is party time, you know? This really needs to stand out, and the staging will help. Vocally, no concerns. The song is certainly strong enough to go through quite comfortably. But I am predicting 5th place for Serbia at this moment in time. Surely this does not miss out. In 6th place, now I'm not sure about this one, it's Luna, song 6 on the night, with the Tower for Poland. Now again, like Lithuania, there's a bit of a diaspora vote, but even if there wasn't a diaspora vote, there could be 4 points there, 5 points there, 6 points there, they all add up, and before you know it, you've got about 35, and that could be enough to progress from a 15-song semi-final. It really could be enough. Now, Luna has pulled out of a few pre-parties because of ill health. Hopefully she's on the mend. But what I have seen from her performing this song live, I have not been terribly impressed at all. I do wonder about the staging. Again, it's really key with a song like this. Coming after Ukraine and before Croatia, who I've already predicted to win semi-final 1, this might just get lost in the mix. However, I am still predicting Poland to go through, but in the final it could really struggle if indeed Luna even gets there in the first place. I think this is more likely to move down than up, and maybe that's the case for you as well. Now, here's a real grower. A song that I think now maybe is emerging as a likely qualifier, whereas before I think a lot of us were on the fence. It is song 4 on the night, Ireland, Bambi Thug, Doomsday Blue. Non-binary, people have been blown away by their pre-party performances. This is gothic and dark, at one moment melancholic, and the next moment quite aggressive and scary, and it's time to hide behind the sofa and lock your dogs up as well. This song is growing on me ever so slightly, but again, taking off that Eurovision fan hat, how will casual first-time viewers react to this? They could be absolutely appalled, or they will be enthralled. I don't think there's much in between here. There is momentum though. Momentum is key, I've said this before. And that momentum might just see Bambi Thug over the line. So for now, I am predicting Ireland to go through in 7th place from that Tuesday first semi-final. 8th place, song 13, Australia, Electric Fields, 1 Mil Cali 1 Blood. Not much momentum for this song, but Electric Fields can give a really good live performance. We've seen this before with 2000 and whatever in the Australian national final a couple of years ago. Vocally strong. There's energy, there's going to be colour and vibrancy, it's going to be a good time. Australia have fared fairly well in semi-finals in the past, but then in the final, the public result is usually a crushing disappointment. We could have something similar this year. I don't see this missing out, but if everybody else really brings their A game, and this one is sort of meandering along, not leaving much of an impression, Australia could easily slip through the net. So it's worth keeping an eye on this one, because it's really hit or miss. That leaves 3 countries. Yes, it does. Finishing 9th, song 1, Cyprus, Celia Kapsis with Liar. I know this is on first. She's a teenager. She's got quite a bit of experience behind her already. I imagine the performance, we sort of know what we're going to get here. She'll probably be wearing an outfit very similar to what she's wearing in the music video. I don't know. I mean, I look at Iceland and I think that's just not quite hitting the mark. And I look at Cyprus and I think maybe that's hitting the mark a little bit more. I don't know. Accessible, safe, energetic pop to get things going. Let me say this again. Whether it lives long in the memory remains to be seen, because it's on first and there's many more expressive entries coming our way afterwards. But for now, 5 points there, 6 points there, they all add up. Might be enough to see Cilia creep into the final. That leaves 2 countries. Can you tell I'm really rambling now and trying to get through this at a good pace? We have Portugal and Slovenia. I can't believe it, but one of them's going to miss out in this prediction. In 10th place, my apologies, I'm all over the place, I have predicted Raven and Veronica for Slovenia, song 9 on the night. Now, the reason I've put Slovenia through is because the staging could be really excellent. I have high hopes here. Raven is a brilliant vocalist, classically trained vocalist, so surely that has to count for something. And if the music video, if what we have on stage is similar to the music video, it could be a real moment. It could be a really powerful 3 minutes on stage. And as a result, I think, again, a few points here, a few points there, Slovenia could creep into the final, which means Portugal, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have predicted Portugal to finish 11th. Iolanda with Grito, great singer, lovely ballad, a really, really fine piece of music. But I just don't know if this is going to get enough support. This might be the one that just misses out on making the cut. Luxembourg going through, I don't know. Portugal going through, I don't know. Slovenia, Cyprus, even Poland, Ireland still, it's still really tricky to predict who's going to make the cut and who isn't. I'd love to see Portugal go through. Personally, I would rather have Portugal go through than Slovenia, than Luxembourg, maybe even Australia. But to the casual viewer, they might be really bored by this one. And looking at the running order, coming after Australia and before Luxembourg, I don't know. I don't know. If this misses out, I think it's purely because people might be quite bored by what they've heard and what they've seen. The staging is going to be fairly simple, and that could be this song's downfall. Anyway, what a ramble. Let me briefly go through that again for you. Semi-final 1, the second rough updated prediction for the results. Croatia, Ukraine, Lithuania, Finland, Serbia, Poland, Ireland, Australia, Cyprus, Slovenia, and then missing out, Portugal, Luxembourg, Azerbaijan, Iceland, Moldova. So there we go, semi-final 2. Let's go through this at a rapid pace. Let me do this on the website. Yes, indeed. Here we go. Bottom to top, finishing in 16th place. This is really difficult to predict. Who is going to finish last in semi-final 2? I have gone with Czechia, song 5, on that Thursday evening. Aiko with Pedestal. We've had the revamp. It's not too bad a revamp. I don't think it's really changed the song too much, though. Aiko is performing better than she did at the Czech national final just before Christmas last year. I don't mind this song. I like the grit and the rocky nature of it. However, there's very little support for this. Very little support for this. And I'm looking at the other songs. It's a really tough semi-final. Lots of fairly decent efforts, no doubt about it. This one, it's not good enough. Hate to say it, but it's not good enough. I think Czechia could really struggle, but I'd like to be proved wrong. Finishing in 15th place, San Marino. Now, a lot of people might be thinking this is the locked-on last place on that Thursday night. It's Megara 11-11. Now, the reason I haven't put San Marino last is because they are a Spanish group. Spain can vote for them. That's possibly the 12 points, or more realistically, 6 or 7. Also, Italy, all around San Marino. That could be a few points too. So let's say maybe somewhere in the region of 14 or 15 points from just 2 countries. That could still be enough to see San Marino not finish last, which is why they are above Czechia here in 15th place. I like the song, my friend Peter likes this song very much, and I'm hoping the performance is pretty decent. I've not been terribly convinced by the pre-party stuff, though, that we've had over the past few weeks. Moving on, 14th place, song 2, Titan by Bessa for Albania. We know Albania have a habit of sneaking through to the final and then finishing somewhere like 20th more often than not. This year, though, lacking support. The casual viewer, I don't think it's going to be bowled over by this either. Bessa is likeable and a fine singer, but don't really know what we're going to get from the staging. It could be quite static, no doubt a red colour scheme again. All in all, I cannot see this coming close to going through. I really can't, not this year. Then we have 13th place, and I hate to say it, but I think Latvia are missing out again. Song 9 on the night, Hollow by Dons. Great singer. He has been at all the pre-parties pretty much, and he has sounded good every time. The staging, might be quite static. That could be this song's downfall. Is it going to stand out enough? Probably not. To the neutral viewer, they might be bored by this, like they might be bored by Portugal in semi-final 1. I hate to say it, it sounds cruel, but they might be bored. As a result, Latvia not going through. In a semi-final where we have some really, really up-tempo, expressive, quite out-there type performances and songs, although this is quite refreshing, I don't see it going through. In 12th place, now this is a country that we have become used to seeing really struggle with the public. It may happen again this year, but I have plumped for Song 1, Malta, Sera Bonici and Loop. This is not a bad pop song. As I've said previously in this video, some people just like that sort of stuff. Basic, simple, lyrically inoffensive pop. Sera Bonici, not a bad performer. I actually think she's done a really good job at the pre-parties. The song is fairly catchy. You know there's going to be some slick, quite sensual type choreography. I like this, but I am not expecting Malta to progress one bit. 12th place. Let's now go from the top. Winning this semi-final, I think it is fairly clear at this stage. It's the Netherlands, closing semi-final 2, song 16, Joost Klein with Europapa, a big viral hit. The staging apparently is going to be unlike anything we've ever seen before. Where have we heard that before? Plenty of times. And to be honest, every time I hear something like that, I have apprehensions. Unless Joost Klein is, I don't know, going to be performing outside the venue and then walking in as the song progresses, or he's performing on the roof of the arena, or there's some sort of hologram, which we have had before with Romania briefly in 2014. I don't know what to expect here, but as long as it's not too cluttered and messy, it'll be fine, because there's the real possibility here that this could become a bit too much. Too much going on, really messy, not quite working. Keep it tight, keep it fairly simple. People will be invested in the song anyway, because it's quite comical, although there is a serious message. And the fact that he's keeping, I believe, that serious moment at the end of this song, that could really work in his favour, especially with the juries in the final, because he's obviously going through, and I have predicted him to win this semi-final. But maybe not by a hugely comfortable margin. Second place, Song 4, the favourite to win, Switzerland, Nemo, The Code. I do not see a situation where this song does not challenge for the win now. Blending all of these different styles, a very, very competent performer, another non-binary act this year, great stuff. Some people might think that this is maybe trying too hard. Maybe some people think that, but the juries, I think, are really going to love this in the final, and I think the public will respond with quite a good dollop of points as well. He's going through, or rather they're going through, my apologies, second place. Third, now it gets tough. Third in semi-final 2, Norway, song 15 on the night, Gorta Ulveham. This is dark and mysterious and otherworldly and elemental, and I've made a video talking about why Norway should perhaps challenge for the win this year, so go and watch that video if you fancy. This is great stuff. If this doesn't go through, things will be flying, let me tell you that right now. This is far, far too good to miss out on the final. It should be going through easily. Third place is what I predicted, however I think it's more likely to move down than up. Finishing fourth, a song that everybody is wetting themselves over. Zari Marina Sati, Greece, song 3, very clearly going through. Apparently it's going to be all one camera shot. We will wait and see if that's a success or not, or indeed whether they actually go with that idea or not. She hasn't been in any of the pre-parties. I don't really know why. She has performed this live though. It's not a bad song. It is growing on me ever so slightly. Some people absolutely love this. Greek people absolutely adore this. There's no surprise. It's going through in fourth place. And there will be an audience for this type of sound, absolutely. But I'm thinking the casual viewer, a 60-year-old housewife watching the semi-final 2 broadcast live from Malmö next month. Is this really going to be their cup of tea? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, finishing fifth, song 6, Austria, Kalin, We Will Rave. I've said it already, you know what I'm going to say again. It's accessible, safe, inoffensive pop. Some people just want that. This is going through. She's been at a few pre-parties, I've not been convinced. But she has Eurovision pedigree, she's been involved many times in the past behind the scenes doing this, that and the other. So I imagine this could be the type of performance that is all about the staging and it forgets the song part, which means the vocals could be a little bit all over the shop. We wait and see, but this is clearly going through, in my opinion, in 5th place. Then we have a song that has fallen to pieces a little bit in recent weeks. It's Belgium. Now, I love this. It's one of my big favourites. Song 12 on the night. Musty before the party's over. He's been at a few pre-parties. People have not been impressed. They've been critical of the way he performs this, his voice, his movements. I've not been terribly enthralled either, I have to say. Is he nervous? Surely not. He's quite a seasoned performer by now. I do love this track. It deserves to do well, but I am now leaning towards the idea that if this makes the final, this could get a really, really poor mark from the public, but a very healthy mark from the jury. Quite lopsided, like what might be the case with Finland this year too. But I'm still expecting Belgium to progress with relative ease. Hopefully the staging will be very atmospheric, and that could really work in his favour. Then we have, going through in 7th place, song 8 on the night, Armenia, Ladaniva, Yako. This is gaining momentum. This could do exceptionally well. It's fun, enjoyable, catchy. To a casual viewer, they might be swept up in the rhythm of this as well. Armenian language lyrics, there's a lot to like here. It's a real dark horse coming up on the rails. Can you hear it galloping in, going through? Then we have in 8th place, this might seem a little low, but like I said, there's lots of fine songs here. Some will inevitably be pushed further down the pecking order. Song 13 on the night, Estonia, Bis minus tant pulup with Nendes narkutikumides de teama kulmidagi. I like this. Again, one of my favourites. There's choreography, it's in the Estonian language, it's bouncy, fun, slightly humorous stuff. I think this is going through. I really do. I think once we've had the rehearsal footage, I think people will be a little bit more on board with this because the momentum has shifted ever so slightly in recent weeks. The pre-party performances, they've been okay. The performance in Malmö, I don't think is going to be too different from what we had at Estilau. Nevertheless, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think this is going through for now. In 9th place, I have gone with song 11 on the night, Nutsa Buzaladze and Firefighter for Georgia. This is the winner, if you like, of the pre-parties. People have been very, very enthusiastic about Nutsa, her voice, this sort of powerhouse energy and stance that she has on stage, and that has made me believe that Georgia is now looking like a pretty decent bet to go through. Might do well in the final as well, who knows. In terms of the staging, don't really know what we're going to get. There will surely be smoke, there will surely be flames, it will surely be a pretty splendid performance indeed. I expect Georgia to progress for the first time since 2016, the last contest that was staged in Sweden. That leaves 2 countries, Denmark and Israel, and I think they were the last 2 countries last time out as well. Going through in 10th place, song 14, Eden Golan, Hurricane for Israel. Now, I don't know if it's all bots, but here's the thing. When the Eurovision account posts something about, I don't know, Georgia, a couple of hundred comments. Israel, several thousand comments. There is a lot of attention surrounding Eden, this song, and Israel. Yes, we know there's a lot going on behind the scenes as well. And, you know, it's quite controversial that they're taking part, etc., etc. I can't imagine it's going to be the most incredible experience for Eden because a lot of the artists will probably shun her. She's not been at any pre-parties. There's going to be heightened security because of her being in Malmö. It's all very tense and very difficult. However, a lot of people will tune in just to see Israel perform. So that might count for something, and a lot of people may vote in big numbers for this track. So whilst I have predicted Israel to go through in 10th place, I would not be surprised, and you shouldn't be surprised, if this finishes far, far higher. It really could throw a cat amongst the pigeons in terms of who does really well in the final, if indeed Israel get there. which means missing out Song 7, Denmark, Sabbath and Sand. It could be another year in which Denmark have to sit out the Saturday Showdown. Sabbath's great singer, nice song, playing it safe. The staging's going to be, I am sure, almost identical to what we had at DMGP. That's fine. As I said with Estonia, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yes, elevate it a tad, but I don't know how they're going to elevate it a tad. Maybe get Melanie Weber, one of the co-writers, on stage doing the backing vocals. I don't know. Anyway, nice song. I'd like it to go through, but it could miss out by a small margin. So there we go. To recap, semi-final 2, the Netherlands to win it, followed by Switzerland, Norway, Greece, Austria, Belgium, Armenia, Estonia, Georgia and Israel missing out, Denmark, Malta, Latvia, Albania, San Marino and Czechia. That is it. What a ramble. I apologise for tripping over my words several times. Let me know your predictions as they currently stand for the 2 semi-finals of this year's upcoming Eurovision Song Contest, and I will be back with another video very soon, most likely the 10 Great National Finals Songs of the Season video. Feel free to leave your own predictions as to what songs might be included in that video when it surfaces. As always, do keep an eye on my community page as well, because I might be posting more stuff on there moving forwards. That's it. Apologies if there was any lag. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and roll on this year's contest. It is nearly upon us. Bye for now.